All right. Okay. I'm going to shift over to my PowerPoint here a second. All right, guys. Welcome to, here we are, the 21st of December, 2017. Hard to imagine we're just a couple of ways from Christmas, but I'm super excited to spend a little time with you this evening. I'm Dr. Brett Brimhall. I want to welcome you to this call and this Zoom. It's awesome to be a part of this group that's involved in sharing this information, even here where the last couple of days of the month. We just did a meeting last night in my office, probably like 20 something people there. So I know there's people out there looking for this information. Did another call earlier with a family from Mexico. So people have what we need, or need what we have. So I'm excited to share with you the story of LifeVantage. And the slide here shows us that we're at the forefront of nutrigenomics. My journey in this began 3 years ago. I was working with a little boy, his name is Luke Williams. Many of you guys know who he is. He was diagnosed with 2 with autism. His mom drove an hour each way to come see me every week for a year. He was seeing me on top of 35 hours of therapy each week, diagnosed with 2 with autism. I started seeing him when he was 3. Saw very small incremental changes, but that's what we expect. And most of the time, what we see happen is people end up no longer seeing me because they ran out of time or money, one of the two. And Carrie had built this business of LifeVantage the 4 years previous, and poured a ton of time, energy, and money back into Luke to help him basically help him be his best version of himself. And I remember working with him, and he struggled to learn letters, to learn numbers, to remember stuff. Remember, some weeks he'd remember something, other weeks he'd be so frustrated just trying to remember like an A or a B or a C or anything like that, and to write them down. And I remember him coming in. His dad brought him in, and he sat at my table for longer than I've ever seen him sat. He behaved well, like allowed me to do what I need to do. And then he went back and he was remembering stuff that he'd been taught the year previous. And it was like a really drastic, like a 50% overall shift in his learning and behavior. And I'd never seen that happen before with someone I'd worked with so long and so hard. And the only difference was he had been on Axio, what we call nurture activation for brain, this energy drink, for the last 11 days. Fast forward where he is now in a school. Teachers don't know his diagnosis. Really, literally, no longer would you ever say autism with where he's at. Guys, I didn't expect that to happen. I spent the last 20 years training physicians across Canada, Europe, and the United States on nutritional products that my dad and I formulated, and we teach and train physicians on what we call the 6 steps of wellness. And a big part of that was teaching on vitamins and minerals that we help create. So I didn't think there was anything out there that I wasn't familiar with. There absolutely was, and it took Carrie help through her son for me to see that. So guys, we're going to talk about something that's absolutely going to change the face of basically what we know is possible in health and prevention. And it's this whole idea of what they call nutrigenomics. And what that basically means is we now have the ability to maximize our genetic potential. Simple form, like if you want to be the best version of yourself, whether that's in school or business, you do what you have to do to become the best. Well, there's this unlocked potential in our genes, and we're going to give you the tools and the skills and the knowledge that you need to tap into your best version of yourself genetically if you choose to take it on. Now, this is a big deal, such a big deal that not too long ago, just a few months back, on Today's show, they talked about this whole industry, which is personalized healthcare, which is nutrigenomics at the base of that. They're estimated to be a $600 billion industry in the next couple of years. So here's what we have going on, guys. We have this potential to tap into this market where people want to know how to become the best version of themselves, and we have the company is the forefront of that. I want to kind of go back to the beginning of the story, and we're going to show you a video that was aired in 2005. Why do we go back that far? Because just 10 years ago, guys, this idea wasn't even really nothing more than a little tiny idea. Just like iPhones and stuff we use today, we didn't even have those things, right? So technology is going to change everything. So when you watch this video, I want you to consider like what this means. If this is really true, what you learned about this video that was aired in 2005, ABC primetime, aired at one time as an investigative report, if this is really true, think of what it means to people that you know today and love that need this information for their own health and wellness, right? But think about it as well, is that if this is an industry that's giant and you have the potential of helping others know about it, and you can help distribute this groundbreaking information and business and product, and you can capture a market share of that 600 billion, what does that allow you and your family to do in the future? So keep that in mind as we watch this video, and then we'll come back to it.
You want to get an edge on turning back the clock with just a few pills? Who doesn't? Well, it's no longer science fiction, but science possibility, a potential breakthrough. As I found out firsthand, there may be a way to erase years, at least inside my body. Granted, it's down the road, but some scientists are wondering if a new pill I took might offer a very long life. It may not look like the fountain of youth, but inside this nondescript building, I'm about to become part of an exciting experiment, a kind of guinea pig.
Dr. McCord, okay.
I'm here at the University of Colorado in Denver to meet Dr. Joe McCord, a world-renowned scientist.
This is pretty exciting stuff you're finding, huh?
It is. We're very excited about it.
His latest research could very well unravel the mystery of aging itself. And his decades of experiments may have the potential of adding years to people's lives and possibly prevent chronic diseases like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. It all centers around this small yellow pill, and for me, it begins with a blood test.
Can we scoop? Yeah, there we go.
It wouldn't be the first time I've given blood for this company.
They want to check my levels of something called T-bars, which is a rough indicator of a person's actual age. T-bars can identify a condition known as oxidative stress, a kind of measure of the wear and tear on our bodies. Oxidative stress, like the rusting of an engine, is not a good thing.
Bad for the body,
Leading to disease.
leading to disease and leading to malfunction, and importantly, leading to what we call aging. It is a slow progression of increasing oxidative stress. That's the main characteristic biochemically of the aging process.
The problem of aging begins with the very food we eat to give us energy. As our cells burn that food, they also release toxic chemicals. Those chemicals, you may know them as free radicals, react with all the components of our cells, literally bombarding them millions of times per second, damaging all our cells. The result? Oxidative stress, and we all have it. The body fights back with a system of defenses. It makes two antioxidant enzymes, catalase and SOD, whose job is to gobble up the free radicals before they can harm our cells.
So, doctor, how often do I take these?
And so, here I go. With that swallow, I've just become part of a potentially landmark scientific experiment.
Doesn't taste bad.
It's called Protandim, and tests on both mice and humans have already shown that it revs up the manufacture of those good enzymes in our bodies. More enzymes, fewer free radicals to harm us.
Right now, all we know is that this preparation decreases oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is not a disease, just like aging is not in itself a disease, but it's something that accompanies and is attached to many disease processes. So you can see the age-related.
Normally, oxidative stress, measured by those T-bars, increases with age. But in Dr. McCord's tests, taking just one pill of Protandim a day reversed that trend for everyone at every age, even for an 80-year-old.
They all are reduced to the level of oxidative stress that one would expect, frankly, in a newborn or a very young child.
High oxidative stress is associated with more than aging. It's been linked to hundreds of illnesses.
It's at the very center of many diseases: liver disease, diabetes, emphysema, asthma. I've studied all of these: strokes, heart attacks,
Even mental disease.
yes,
Depression?
Alzheimer's disease, depression.
Dr. James Crapo with the National Jewish Medical Center in Denver is also researching Protandim for the company. But what about my progress? After nearly 2 weeks now, it's time to get my results. Dr. McCord calculates the numbers. The result? My level of oxidative stress has declined dramatically.
45%. That's excellent.
Just look at where I fall on the graph, before and after.
Which, if extrapolated back, is the level you would see in a newborn baby.
Would you suggest I keep taking this supplement?
I would. I can't guarantee it's going to extend your life. I can't guarantee it's going to eliminate any diseases or cure any diseases.
But we do know that oxidative stress is part of those disease processes. I don't want to wait until I'm 80 years old and find out that I should have taken it.
All right, guys. So check this out. That aired in 2005. And you can see that who do you know right now that's struggling with their health? And we all know people that have all these different doctors and they don't know why they're sick, right? But think about all those people that just want to perform their best. So I want to introduce you to the concept, and I'll tell you a story. Why I think it's so important we need to know this, because right now, currently, your body at this very minute is aging, and it's either aging gracefully or very ungracefully, right? And right now, your body and your potential genetically is either being hijacked or you're biohacking it. So I want to introduce you to this concept, and at the meat of this concept is that we have a potential that's far greater than we're probably living up to, and a lot of us being robbed by environmental stimulus that's around us physically, but also we're being hijacked mentally a lot by what we believe we're capable of, both physically and also financially. So just to kind of why this is personal to me, my mom passed away in her 60s, guys. I wish you was here today, especially this time of year around Christmas. You wish to spend time with family and friends. Her mom lived to 97. Her dad lived to 93, right? So how does somebody that has that genetic makeup not live well into their 90s and beyond? Well, it's truly because her genes were hijacked because of environmental exposure she had when she was a kid. And these genes that are supposed to protect her weren't doing that. So I'm going to introduce you to this concept that if what I now understand is our ability to biohack our body and why it's so important. But before I do, I want to kind of fill you in on what happened. So that aired in 2005, that video. And what happened after that is this was a small publicly traded company, $5 million in orders came in overnight. The stock from the dollar share to $20 overnight. But because it was ran by doctors and scientists, they didn't have infrastructure or sales team or marketing team in place to capture that huge goodwill that took place because of that ABC video, right? So most of those orders went unfulfilled. Now that's not good from that company's standpoint, but phenomenal for ours, and I think phenomenal for ours from the business standpoint, but especially from and also from the health perspective. Because here's what happened. All the nutritional products that my dad and I have been part of creating, over 200 of them, okay, there's no peer-reviewed published science on them. Protandim, because of who the scientist was and this research that was done and aired on ABC, scientists from around the world called them up and said, we want to study your product, Protandim, not the ingredients in the product, but your product, brand name, and we want to study it because we think oxidative stress is linked to 100 diseases. So if you want to know if you have oxidative stress, ask yourself the question, do I age? If the answer is yes, then you have oxidative stress. Okay, number 2, do you breathe? Okay, if you breathe, then you have oxidative stress. The rate at which that happens speeds up on the more you breathe and the more you stress. So when these studies started being done, American Heart Association, Ohio State, on heart disease, right? LSU on skin, Children's Hospital, Vanderbilt. These are giant names in universities that did this research on Protandim, all right? Which has never happened. You don't see that. So if you want to go to PubMed.gov, you can find over 20 published studies on Protandim, the actual product, and how it affects your body's ability to heal and repair. All right. So oxidative stress is this simple. Do you want to age fast or slow? Right? So what causes any type of stress? Physical, chemical, emotional stress causes you to rust on the inside faster or brown like this apple is. So if you want to age fast, don't take Protandim. If you want to increase your risk of having problems, don't take Protandim. So we're not saying we're curing or treating anything. We're saying we can reduce oxidative stress. So here's what we can say. This is a whole different concept. It's not supplementation. This is considered a supplement, but we call it an activator. So the difference between a supplement is you're just supplementing deficiencies. Activation is you're activating genetic potential. So instead of taking antioxidants like vitamin C or vitamin A, you're making them. So you're turning on your body's ability to make your antioxidants far more efficient. So it's really, instead of like you're making one molecule of a antioxidant, like a vitamin C, it's going to neutralize one bad guy. If you can turn on your body's ability to make antioxidants, it's literally like having somebody that's 1,000,000 to 1. So you have 1,000,000 good guys fighting all these bad guys, phenomenally more efficient. So it's a scientific breakthrough called NRF2 activation. If you like the phone analogy, think of it this way. You can go back to Morse code, or you can use an iPhone. What's going to allow you to do more and get more done faster? Obviously, a smartphone is. So if you use this technology, right, you're going to be able to express the genetic potential of your cells way better. So what does it do? Simple answer. It reduces oxidative stress 40% in 30 days. What that means is you're going to heal 40% faster. John Kunis in that video said he reduced his oxidative stress by 45% in 2 weeks. So equate it back to just life. What if you could increase, save 40% more money a month, okay, or make 40% more money? What would that allow you to do? And when it comes to your body, if your body's healing 40% faster, in the first month, it's going to fix what it has to, and then over time, it's going to fix what it wants to, and then it can repair the system as damage occurs. Very unique in that Protandim has multiple peer-reviewed studies. You can find those on PubMed.gov, over 11 patents, certifications that says what's in it's in it. And we now know there was a 10-year study done that it shows that it extended the lifespan in mammals by roughly 7%. What that means, and if you equate it back to humans, is roughly 5 years. So who do you know, right, that wants to live 5 more good, productive years? You have the ability to do that. Now, I don't know of another supplement ever on the planet that, number one, had peer-reviewed studies and it can make those claims, because there isn't one. That's a giant, giant deal. So just to feel why this is so important, we know that if there's these switches in the body, that medications are going to be made to try to help that. I want you to know how big a deal this NRF2 switch is and why we think it's so important to do. So what we know is the NRF2 switch, it's this key. Think of it as a key regulator in your body. If you have the key to get into the car, right, great, then you can run that car. All right, so think of this as the coolest, fastest, awesomest car ever. And if you don't have a key to it, it doesn't matter. So NRF2, it's a master regulator switch that controls your body's ability to detox, produce antioxidants, reduce inflammation, and protect your cells, right? So giant deal. Just so you know how big a deal this is, when Washington State, and back in 2015, look at the research of NRF2 and say, no, if we can affect this particular switch in our body, how big a deal that is. This is what that university is basically said about this NRF2 switch. He said, we may be on the verge of literature on the health effects of NRF2, which may become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. So I want you to think about how long history of medicine, how long that is. And we're talking about something that's not only therapeutic, but preventative. So who is this for? This is for anybody that has problems, number one, this related to oxidative stress, which is pretty much everything, and anybody who wants to prevent a problem from taking place. So who is that? That's every person on the planet. And Protandim is the most potent and most effective NRF2 product and all natural study to date. Now, how effective is it? There was a study done looking at a drug that was made called BG12. The drug is also an NRF2 activator, so think of it as another key. So it's another key that turns on that switch, but it turns it on differently than Protandim in the natural way. So this study was done by the drug company that made the drug BG12, and they're looking at, and this was published in what's called the Multiple Sclerosis Journal. So the end result was, this is what the researchers came up with. Interestingly, Protandim, a dietary supplement consisting of herbal ingredients, was the most potent inducer and therefore maybe most suited to a therapeutic strategy. So I want you to wrap your mind around this. You're talking about a drug, just to give you an idea, it took $1 billion for that drug to come to market. That drug did about $4 billion last year in worldwide sales. Was outperformed by a nutritional supplement, NRF2 activator, Protandim, and it outperformed it. So you're talking about a product that's less than $500 a year to take that product versus a product versus a drug that's over $50,000 per patient per year to take it, and it was more effective. So guys, I saw that, and I remember reading that study, and I have clients I've worked with for years. One of them particularly is over for 15 years, that her diagnosis was very similar to MS. And I remember having her talking about taking it. Well, long story short, guys, this individual went from basically having 2 hours of good functioning a day to where she goes all day long, to where we're seeing things heal in her, which I didn't think would heal. So not only did she not have relapses, which is what that drug is famous for, reducing relapse rate by 50%, but we're seeing her body heal and repair and do things that she couldn't do before. In the tuna, she's now able to travel by herself, which she hasn't done in over 10 years. She's been able to go travel and do things with the family, which she has given up on. She's able to take care of her family in ways that she never has. She moved this last year, which normally would throw her into a major relapse, moved and did awesome, right? So what we have is something, and she was on the medications like this, and now she's off all her medications after talking to her physicians about it. And on top of that, she's saved on average of about $7,000 to $9,000 a year on her supplements and medical bills because of Protandim. So it's nice to have research. It's a lot better to have results. Okay, so let me fill you on the kind of rest of the story, because what this does is opens up to a whole new idea that there's this idea of nutrigenomics, which our body has a genetic potential that we can tap into. Like, we don't have to just say, hey, my mom had it, so my grandma had it, and my great-grandma has it, so I'm going to have it. We have something that we can do both therapeutically and preventively, and it opens up to other key cellular switches. If there's an NRF2, there must be an NRF1. So the NRF2 switch, that's the key switch to turn on the body's ability to make antioxidants and repair. The NRF1 switch, that's the switch in the body. When we turn that on, it causes the body to make new mitochondria, which are the powerhouses of your cell, and get the ones you have to work better, right? So just to give you an idea of what this does, if your body doesn't make good energy, people are diagnosed with conditions like you'll see here. Anything from epilepsy to cerebral palsy, Parkinson's, autism, muscular dystrophy, Lou Gehrig's, fibromyalgia, diabetes, Alzheimer's. Look at all these different things that you hear people, when you hear those words in people, you're like, oh, I'm sorry. That's all that someone will tell them, because they know that there's not a lot of things that can affect them, right, and help them. But we know that mitochondria, when they don't work well, these are the conditions that show up, right? So what if we could turn on the cellular switch to help the mitochondria perform better? Then we have potential to help these. And just to have a side note, guys, this condition right here, Lou Gehrig's, the latest drug that was released to work with Lou Gehrig's is a drug that works on the NRF2 pathway. So we now have something that we don't have to guess that works. We're turning on the switch of NRF2 and the switch of NRF1, affecting things that your body that needs help with. And if you think of it this way, if your body can't heal and repair, you're going to get tired. That's what happens. Your body can't make energy, everything starts breaking down. Okay, and it's all found in this concept we call nutrigenomics. All right, so I started earlier with a story about my mom, about hijacking. Whether you want to believe it or not, you're being hijacked right now. Everything you eat, breathe, drink, think is hijacking your genetic potential. So what if you had some tools, right, to basically deal with your environment and optimize your genetic potential? That's what LifeVantage has done. So if you look at this vitality stack, you have products called NRF1. It helps your body hack into your body's potential to make mitochondria and get the ones you're working better. You have NRF2, gives your body the ability to make antioxidants and turn that switch on that heals and repairs. Okay, and then omegas. We know there's tons of research looking at how omegas affects the communication between your cell membranes, which controls the inflammation cycle. Huge amount of studies looking at that and how having fatty acids are critical for your body performance at its peak. And then a probio, and this probio is very unique. This is a probiotic in a time-release fashion. That probiotic, because of the time-release fashion of it, it goes throughout your whole intestinal tract. So instead of losing 70-80% of it, you maintain all of that as it goes throughout your whole digestive tract. And something they call willamine, which is a specific molecule that helps balance the immune system. Okay, why is that a big deal? Because most diseases begin in the digestive tract. So if you think about it, when I take, like we talk about my dad and I help formulate all these different products, why so many? Why so many products to try to fix problems? Because we were chasing these switches, right? So we were supplementing the system versus activating it. So in looking at what LifeVantage created with NRF1, NRF2, Probio, and Omega, it's given us a way to very simply activate and turn on your genetic potential. So you're really, in doing these things, really you're working with and helping 95 to 98% of the people's problems and helping them to basically biohack or optimize their system with those specific products. And what I love about the company is because it is that simple. The cost on this kit right here, $149. Guys, if you looked and try to get even half of that, in most places it'd be way more than that. And on top of that, the company, they get it to you for free shipping. Like, it's beautiful in how simple that is. Now, there's a few other products I want to touch on because if there's this idea of nutrigenomics and activation. Well, this one of those products. Axial was the one that got me looking at this. I wasn't looking at Nerf 2, Nerf 1, or all those things, and I wasn't even open to it because I thought I knew what those things were. It wasn't until I saw what I saw in a little boy, right? So when he started drinking this drink, think of this as Nerf 2 activation for your brain. So turning on and helping your brain connect in ways that it hadn't. So think about anybody you know or love, and maybe in yourself, that you'd like to feel like you're more mentally focused in the zone, getting things done, connected, right? That's what Axial is, truly liquid brain food, right? But in a healthy fashion. So let me kind of give you a couple pictures on this. This is Luke's test scores here. Now this was in September. They did it, he's at the preschool, they tested like on letter and sound recognition, all right? The one of these lines you can kind of see though when you can't see it all right? Then in February, look at where he is here, right? At the top of the class. Now others were there, but none of them had that drastic of a difference. The only difference between the first and the second test was Axial, right? That's the only thing different that we had done. I'd already been working with him a year by the time they tested him here. So this is this little boy, 35 hours therapy week, seeing me every week for a year. That's how bad he was struggling, right? This is what happened once the Axial kicked in. So when we got Nerf 2 activation for brain, his brain started doing what it was designed to do. So who do you guys know that need that? Whether they've been diagnosed with something or not, right? That wants to be more focused, more in the zone, and get more things done. So if that's being a mom, what more could you do and get done if you feel like you had the mental clarity? People are tired right now, not because they're physically tired so much as they're mentally tired. We have an answer for them. Now that's a graph. Guys, here's a picture of my nephew's handwriting. He was 9 at the time that this happened. So he was one of those kids, one of the last kids in the class done, struggled with anxiety. I'd worked with him since he was born, doing everything that I know to do to try to help him. I've actually spent thousands of dollars trying to find equipment that I could use that would help him. That handwriting on the left is what his handwriting is like without Nerf 2 activation. So that's his handwriting. We started him on Nerf 2, and then we started him on Axial. Okay, 1 week after he started those two products, that's his handwriting on the right. Look at the difference in how in which his brain communicated with his hand to write those letters. So he went from one of the last kids in the class to one of the first kids in the class done. So who do you know that needs and wants something like that, right? The saddest part about this story, guys, is that it took me a year before I had a conversation with his parents about this, because this was a network marketing product. Even though they bought tons of product in the past, I'm like, it was weird. I didn't want to be one of those network marketers. But guys, they wouldn't have had this opportunity to have this had I not seen what I saw in Luke, and because his mom Carrie had done network marketing, and I finally opened up to look at it and look at the difference. And now they look at all the people that I've met through doing this business, over 3,000 of them now, would probably have never had the opportunity to have the results they've had. Even the person I talked to tonight with mom and dad are struggling with Alzheimer's. It all happened because of network marketing. So don't be like me like that. Okay, so let me kind of touch on a few quick things. There are a few other products the company make, all based on Nerf 2 activation. And what I want you to think about is if you're looking at, okay, who needs this? All right, you've got everybody on the planet, Nerf 2, everyone on the planet, Nerf 1, everybody on the planet, fish oil, everybody on the planet, the ProBio. If you have a four-legged friend you want to keep around longer, okay, that's got high oxidative stress, they have Pet Tandem. If you want to check out some cool videos, go look at Pet Tandem and dogs and cats, and you'll see some really cool stories, and actually horses online. What if you could have Nerf 2 activation for your skin? Like, who really cares, right? You know, anybody that actually wants to actually look younger? That's Nerf 2 activation, but for skin. I'll show you a couple of pictures here. So that's the true science. That was born out of some research and looking at how it affected melanoma, right? So reducing melanoma in one of the studies by LSU. So they said you need to put this in a topical. Then the physique weight loss system, all right? This is weight loss, but weight management, in that we're gonna burn fat, maintain muscle to improve metabolism. The foundation being this ProBio to heal the digestive tract and heal the gut and the allergies, getting a good protein there to replace the fat with the protein, and then a fat burn designed to actually help you burn the visceral fat, right? And right now, the company has launched a huge, basically, contest where the winner, both the male and most weight loss in a male and in a female, $5,000 prize, and a makeover and a trip to a week trip to it, like several day trip to Atlantis, the Bahamas, Pay your way there, room and board, everything, like phenomenal. So if you know people that are like wanting to do this and kind of kickstart, fantastic, great way to get kicked in and, you know, have some motivation to shoot for. But I want you to think about all the different ways in which we have to affect people. So here's a couple pictures. Now, what I love about this picture here is the guy put only half on this side of his face. If you look at the difference in the wrinkles, right, from here to here, he did that for 90 days. He wanted to prove to himself that it really made a difference. And thank goodness he figured out and he started doing it on both sides. This young man here, he burned his arm really, really bad. And these are cheliculae. They don't normally heal very well, but look at even the pigmentation changes. You can barely see that over here. That doesn't happen. That was taking nerve 2 internally, and that was doing the True Science externally. This is psoriasis. 6 months on the True Science on the skin and taking the nerve 2 internally. So guys, this isn't chasing the symptom. This is activating the body, the potential ability to heal. And you're going to see this happen. So no matter who the person is, even if for me, taking it purely preventatively versus someone here, obviously therapeutically. All right, here's some pictures of an individual with the physique system and the vitality stat combined. So what I want you to think about, how many people do you know, or maybe even you, right, that you used to be in shape, right, and then life happens, and then you end up getting kind of like this guy, out of shape, right? And they said, look, now's my time, you know, and this same thing happened to this guy. He was shooting for that contest, right, last year. So what he did was he did a vitality stack and he did the physique weight management system, 3 months, right, of doing that and changing the diet. And what I love about LFVN is they have that all put together for you with the kit and with some coaching and all that process you can take place and go. Look at the difference. But I want you to, like, not only, like, obviously that's a drastic shift, but look where they lost the weight. Like, that's the hardest place to lose the weight there in the abdomen, and look at the difference. Now, he had muscle in there, right, but it was hiding. So how many of us have that in us, but it's hiding? And that happened in a 3-month period of time. Okay, so now for those of you that are on here and someone invited you and you're really looking at the products, just know 100% they're real. I don't know where else you can get anything that even remotely does half of what this does, right? And then to do it in the fashion where you can get it for, you know, inexpensive way with free shipping, and you know it's got studies and you know it's got results and it's tied to a publicly traded company, right, that's super solid. Like, I don't know where to tell you to go other than right here. But let me kind of give you an idea of why are we having this conversation, because I want you to know about the business. Guys, 3 years ago, when all this was going down, when I saw Luke had that massive change, there were several things happening in my life. One, I was in a fight with the IRS. It just beat me up bad, physically and emotionally. I ended up had to pay a lot of taxes back, which I didn't think I owe, still don't, but hey, that's life. So it kind of put me in some financial strain. 2, my dad, who's working for another company, his $30,000 a month income went away overnight. With the company we're teaching with. I ended up breaking my knee playing basketball. So the first time in my life, I really needed a plan B, and the plan B, which I thought would be teaching for another company, I wasn't going to do because I just spent 17 years with one company, 3 years with another, and it's gone overnight. I didn't want to build something for another 17 years and just see it vanish overnight. But I also was looking, I need something now. And I have disability insurance, didn't kick in for 3 months. So what do you do if you're the sole provider for your family, and all of a sudden now your ability to perform and do your task is a lot less than what it could be? Guys, that's what really got me looking hard at this business, because Carrie and I talked, and she's like saying, look, you don't need me to sell product, but if you want to build this business like I have, you need to follow the system. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the system and what happened and what you can do, because 3 years later, guys, if I had quit doing what I've done, I wouldn't now have a plan B in place, growing vastly into a plan A, where if things happen in life, which they will, I can take a step back. And I can take care of those things I need to and still have a business that runs without me, where before I didn't have that. So let me kind of fill in the rest of the story. So why we're having this conversation, because being a publicly traded company was not network marketing. That video aired, $5 million orders came in. Most of them went unfulfilled because they didn't have the infrastructure to fulfill them. The stock dropped from that $20 that I went to down to 7 cents. They tried to sell it in stores like GNC and Rite Aid. All right, it averaged half a bottle per store per month because no one knew what it was. It was sitting next to this vitamin C, and no one could tell you what it was. And it was more expensive on the shelf of GNC than it is today. So the consultant came in and says, hey, you guys have an amazing product. It's got an amazing story, but nobody knows the story. All right, and here you are now in 2017, just hearing the story, maybe many of you. So they made a decision to do a comparative study between in late 2009, direct sales versus retail sales. Direct sales outperformed by 300%, so they went 100% into direct sales, or person-to-person distribution, or network marketing. All right. So let me kind of fill you on the story on why this is so important. What we know with network marketing from the history that's had, there's some huge giant companies that have done very well in the network marketing industry that pay the road for us. We know that the first 135,000 distributors to join network marketing that has predictable success, right, participate in a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Let me give you an idea of where you are. There's less than 80,000 distributors worldwide. That 135,000 is per country. So you're super early to the party. But you're past this company, so there's in a business escrow, there's the beginning staging of a company called a pioneer, where most companies go bankrupt because they don't have enough to get through what, whether it's capital or timing or where else to get where they need to be. So this is about timing. Okay, right now, LifeVN is just over a $200 million company. Very, very stable company. It's gone through the rough spots, okay? There's a system in place, but that still hasn't hit this place called momentum. Now, all of us are old enough probably to have lived through Apple and Facebook and Google and watch a branding take place. My wife and I talked about this the other day, of how years ago when Facebook first came out, only like one friend was talking about it. And all of a sudden, it seemed like within a matter of like a year, almost all of her friends were on Facebook. That's what's called momentum. So right now, LifeVantage, nutrigenomics, biohacking, we're at the beginning of the trend of a giant wave that's going to take place where people, as we know, are frustrated with medicine, old technology. We're tied to a healthcare industry where we want some different results. You have the potential, guys, to lock arms with a company that's at the forefront of that's got phenomenal science and people and the product to actually ride that wave if that's what you want. It's going to be a matter of time where all nutraceuticals, in my opinion, are going to have to go to this type of talking where you're talking about how does your supplement activate my genetics. Guys, we don't have to wait for that, right? So you can come out with a new iPhone right now, but you're going to fight a big battle to beat out Apple that has 76% of the market share. What we have is we have that market share. We're already telling the story. We have an army out there talking about it. Okay, so if you want to hit that wave, let's talk about how you can do it. Either way, products for everybody, business is not for everybody. It just depends on if you're willing to put the time and effort into it. Okay, so what is the products? Okay, we have just a handful, but I want you to think about the market, or basically the need in the world for it. Who do you know that had oxidative stress? We are talking about everybody. Who had mitochondrial distress? Everybody. Who do you know that wants more energy? Everybody. Who do you know? And that's nerf 1, nerf 2. Guys, these are very inexpensive. That by itself, 49. That one by itself, 40. Together, 85. Axial. Who do you know that drinks energy drinks, right? That wants their brain to perform better? That's so many. Think about how big the energy drink market is. Now you have something that not only is good for you, right, but it's going to have nurture activation brain to protect your brain cells, where you're going to fire on more cylinders, get more things done. Think how big of an industry that is and how big of a need that is. And who do you know that needs options besides what they've been given, whether that's medications or, hey, just you are what you are, you always have anxiety or whatever it is. Okay, then you have the physique weight management system tied to fixing the body's ability to burn visceral fat and heal the digestive tract. Okay, that whole system, guys, is 140. The True Science skincare system, the whole system that lasts most people a couple months or longer, it's 140. Like, I know how much people spend for health, for skincare, and here you have everything you want in it and all the stuff you don't want it, and then you have pet tandem, right? Look at all the industries that you have: anti-aging, energy, weight loss, skincare, okay, and then pets. So there's different ways you can involve in the company. Number one, if you want to be a customer, fantastic, super easy. There's no membership fee to join. You get the same product for as long as you get the same cost on the product, whether you're a distributor or you're a customer. Super easy to get it. You just get with who invited you to this. You get on the product, it ships directly to you, hands off. I love that as a business. I don't have to stock stuff. I don't worry about stuff going expiring. It goes straight to you. You get it every month. You have complete control. But if you're looking for a business, here we are, end of the year, right? If you're looking for a tax write-off, also awesome. But if you're not where you want to be and you don't see that changing very much in the foreseeable future based on the road you're on, you better get off that road, right? You got to decide, if I want to be where I want to be, you better change the direction you're going if you're not liking where you're going. And so here, this may be for you. I don't know. It's up to you, right? There's 3 different packs that you can get involved with in the business: platinum, gold, or silver. If you're serious about the business, the only pack I'd say use is the platinum pack. It allows you to get all the product, and it teaches the right behaviors. If you're gonna do this business, you want people to see it, get it, and do it like you do. And plus, you need those products. there's no risk. There's over $1,400 worth of product in that platinum pack that you can use for your friends and for your family. Okay, and you can get on that and start getting the experience. Conversation we had tonight with this lady, one's from Mexico, her husband from the United States. Both her parents have Alzheimer's, right? What choices do they have, right? You know, she preventatively wants something for her health, but she wants something to kind of help her family. But like, what choices do they have medication-wise even that way? None. Here you have something you can, number one, give them something that's going to give them the best option to try to help them perform at their best and function at their best. Okay. So just, I'm not going to go into some great detail, but here's how it works. How nice would it be involved in an industry where you're rewarded based on performance, not tied to race, creed, color, denomination, nothing. It's how hard you work, how good of a leader you become, how much effort you put into your team, the more you grow, but you're paid residually and leveraged, which means you can help people become successful. The more successful you help them become, the more successful they are, the more successful you are. So network marketing, the simple way to look at this is the analogy a lot of people use is Uber, right? So anytime somebody drives you with Uber, you get paid, and Uber gets a small percentage, and that turned that industry upside down on its head. But what if you could recruit other drivers for Uber and they paid you a small percentage? That's network marketing. Or as you know, Carrie says all the time in my business, he's like, I've referred Dr. Brimhall so many patients, but what if I got a small fraction of every time they went to see Dr. Brimhall, I made a small amount. And anybody they referred, I made a small amount. That's network marketing. Network marketing is nothing more than sharing information, all right? But you get paid for it in this industry. So there's different ways you get paid. Just gonna touch on one of the other ones, what's called Elite Bonus Pool. How would you like to be involved in like Apple or Google or Facebook? And for every time an iPhone is sold, you make a small fraction of a penny. That's what this Elite Bonus Pool is. And what that is, that means that when I started in the company 3 years ago, Carrie had been involved 4 years. She was a Pro 9, okay? Once I hit the rank of Pro 7, I now shared in the work that was done since the beginning of the company. So that elite pool, right? So there's 4% of global sales reserved every month. They're split between the ranks 7 through 10. The 7 through 10, all those add up and they get 1%. That was about $1,300 last month. And the Pro 8s, 9s, and 10s are less of them, so that's a bigger percent. Pro 9s and 10s are less of them, that's a bigger, and then the Pro 10s. Those bonuses are giant, but that's a great equalizer. So no matter when you start, guys, you start today, first time, and you hit Pro 7, and you're now sharing the work that everybody's done since the very beginning back in 2010. Where else can you be involved in a company like that? I don't know, right? And this kind of goes into here. I'd rather have 1% of the efforts of 100 people than 1% of my own efforts, right? So the better leader you become, the more money you make, the more successful you are. Now, is this worth your time? That's what you have to decide. I love that it's a publicly traded company. These are real numbers that they're based on the fiscal year of 2017. You look at the monthly average down the column. The company set up and ranks Pro 1 through Pro 10, and it gives you an average of what each rank makes. So, for instance, a Pro 3 is $5,000 in volume going through your whole group, and it's the monthly average that they take home is $580. So who do you know that could use an extra $580? That will save most homes from going to full closure. But also equate it back there. What would you have to have in the bank to be making $580 in interest every month? All right. Or when was the last time you got a $580 a month raise? That doesn't happen. Okay. A Pro 5 is an extra $2,500. Okay. That's Pro 5 is an average $20,000 monthly income going in through your group. Not just your efforts, but the efforts of the team that you have. A Pro 6, $5,800. A Pro 7, which is I hit in just under 3 years, an extra $11,000 a month. Like, equate that out. That's over $120,000 a year extra, and I've done that part time. I've done that by working with others and learning how to be successful in network marketing. So I attend the events. I do those things that I'm asked to do. I put time and energy into myself, and I do those things to try to help them be successful. So this income is real, and it can happen. Guys, 3 years ago, that wasn't there. And then the numbers keep going up there. Carrie Williams introduced me. She's in the Pro 9 with the company. She's making well above average, over $42,000 a month. Okay, and there's other people in this business making even more than that. Think at a Pro 10, average Pro 10, $100,000 a month. Okay, the executive Pro 10, average $111,000 almost extra a month. So is it worth your time? Absolutely. At the beginning, It takes some time to build, but it's residual and levered. That's the difference. Okay. So bottom line is this: entrepreneurship is living a few years of life like most people won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. Please get with those that invited you to this call, have a conversation, and just let them know where you're at. We're at the end of the year, end of 2017. You know a friend and family that you're going to see the next few days that need this information. Just share it with them. That's what I love. This is really just sharing, and see where they're at. Like if they're looking for things in their health, give them the option to know about what the latest and greatest medical breakthrough is that has potential of helping them bodies heal from the inside out in ways that they haven't forever, right? But then also, if there's people that are looking for another option, maybe a plan B, maybe a part-time hustle, right? This may be it, right? Thank the person that invited you to this call. Guys, I am so grateful that God knocked me down a little bit where I was open enough to see and to be a part of seeing this little boy have this massive change, but also give me the opportunity to use the skill that I've been developing for years to do this business to where I now have a plan B in place that allows me different options that I didn't have before. So grateful for both the product and for the business. Yeah, I wish you a Merry Christmas. Just excited for your new year. Hope you have a fantastic holiday with your family and friends. Look forward to seeing you at the next big event. Plug into the system. We'll talk to you guys later.